Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Violet Rain.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Violet B. Rain. My guest today is Ann Jonas, the AKA the Love Messenger. She is passionate about guiding and supporting those that desire to become more of who they truly are. She honors and recognizes that there is a transformational journey of remembering that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. The journey of life often involves lots of mud, and she is similar with walking along the Lotus Path. She approaches her work from a holistic, intuitive, spiritual perspective with decades of experience as a body worker and a birth doula, as well as a lifetime of being in service and always curious. I love that. Curiosity is really important when we get curious because it takes us out of our comfort zone and lets us explore and discover other things. So, Anne, tell me, what brought you along this journey? Because there's always a story behind every individual of what got them where they are today. So that you're curious, where did your curiosity take you along this path that brought you here today?
I love it. Yes, curiosity. It also offers us the opportunity to remember that we don't know everything. We really don't. And at the same time, when we fully drop in to that inner knowing, we have access to all, right? That's interesting. And that's a part of my story. I'm actually going to start with the journey that in essence had me see that this life is truly a spiritual experience. And that is when my parents had been divorced for 25 years. And that happened when I was 11. And my father walked a wobbly path that was fraught with his mud that was related to suicide attempts and his inner demons. And when I was 36, 25 years later, he showed up at my mother's doorstep, the house I grew up in, and he shot and killed her. And that was days away from the 20-year anniversary. That's where we are right now, of her leaving the planet and of me having another layer. And it all started, I feel, when my parents got divorced, is that I really started my awareness that on some level, not consciously, but that this is this Lotus Path and what I've created in the realm of a guidance that supports people to go inward. My curiosity has shown me through the events and experiences in my life how to look inward for empowerment, for guidance, for growth. That's what this journey is. So here's the deal. My job is the joy of being. Yes, I am. That's my job. And my work is my inner work. So I have this powerful story that then actually leads to me meeting my person who became my wife, who then we became parents. And she left the planet when our daughter was 2, because 4 of the 5 years of our relationship was a melanoma journey. And so I'm going to acknowledge you right now. There's something special about witnessing, and you do it well.
Well,
And you're not apologizing. to me for the experiences I had. And that's a big deal for me. I noticed that. I noticed that. I know you're listening and I'm talking and I'm the guest. And I've said this story many times, and people have dove right in with a need for an apology. And here's the thing, I live a life that's based on gratitude and bewilderment. So the idea is that I'm grateful for everything. And that's what the Lotus Path is all about. It's about recognizing where the mud and the muck and the poo of our life provides the fodder and the nourishment for the blossom, the lotus. We all walk our own lotus path. It's unique. There's no comparing of tragedies. Like I got some big ones, and there's ones I don't have that other people have experienced. We are here creating our life, co-creating our life with sacred contracts and in this relationship with self and the divine, sacred connection. We're all here doing that. So what anybody else is doing is none of my business. And if they're with me, following, joining, if they're in my field, if I see them, right? We were talking about that before. Like if I see it, that's it. Like it's I get it. I understand it. It's there. I have access to it. Otherwise, I won't see it. It won't be part of my path. How's that?
I love that. I love that. Because here's the thing, what I try to explain to people, even if you're spiritual, even if you're religious, whatever you want to call yourself in that space, and you're dedicated and diligent with your belief system, it doesn't mean your life is easy. We came here to have an experience, and all of us have different experiences. I believe everyone has their own level of wounds and pains, just like you've shared. And we have choices to make. We can get into that victim energy of, woe is me, this has happened to me, how could this happen to me, and blame everyone else, including ourselves.
Yep.
Or we can get into that space of, this has happened to me, and I've grown through that. I've evolved through that. I've moved through that. It is an experience that I chose. And that's where the growth comes in, because the challenges, the obstacles, the heartache, the wounds, the pains are where we learn and grow. And how we respond to that
Yep.
is our spiritual evolution,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And Anna's so right. We all have our own wounds. I have wounds as deep as those as well that people go, and it's like, it is a part of my life. It's made me who I am. It's how I've gotten to this place. It has given me the strength, the courage, the resilience to be able to
Yep.
do that. Because when I was in my 20s, I had people tell me that I should have been in an insane asylum for all the things that I had gone through, that I should be broken and wounded and in
Right.
pieces. And it's like, I don't have time for that. I've got things to do,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
don't have time to be in that. I've got to heal this and recognize that I didn't cause this. This is just an experience that I am having at this point with people that I dearly love, that meant a lot to me, right? And I will
Yeah.
see them again in a
Yeah.
different life, but this is what I chose, is to love and support them in this life and what their experience were, which is part of my experience. So
Yeah.
I thank you for that honor. I love to hold space for people, because I think we need to process and look at it and talk about it and share it so that others can learn through us, right? So that we have that ability to grow and expand. You know,
Absolutely.
you talk about lotus and mud. So people listening, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Somebody that's listening that's never thought about the lotus,
Yeah.
never thought about the mud or the significance or symbolism of that, share with us your perspective, because that's a really important piece for you. And I'd love to hear your heart on that topic.
Absolutely. The lotus grows in the mud. It's that simple. Literally, the plant. It's thrives and it exists in the mud, and as it dies, it creates the fodder for the next blossom. That is a metaphor for life. And I love everything you said, how we respond to experiences, victor or victim. See, there's no Y, W-H-Y in my world. I mean, yeah, have a why to show up in the world, your purpose, your design. That's a why, right? You know, how you want to be in your business and your thing and your brand and all that stuff. But asking why things occur is disempowering. And I have a little moment with a cough that's coming on. Hold on one second. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are in this life with no Y as in W-H-Y, but the letter Y, which is the first letter of the word you. And then it's combined two letters, I and V. I on the bottom, V on the top. I choose, victor or victim. That choice, that awareness that we choose. We talked a little bit, we mentioned sacred contracts. So the Lotus Path is recognizing that you chose your life, you forgot that you did. And most of us did. Those of us that are having these conversations remember, like, the veil has been removed. And there are those that are beginning to see what we're aware of in this version of reality, of the universality of this experience. The Lotus Path is a human journey of recognizing that we're a spiritual being here having a human experience. We create sacred contracts. We line the whole thing up. We're like, hey, meet me at 40 and be my partner, and let's be in this really powerful codependent relationship and like break each other apart. You're like, great, let's do that. It'll be fun. Right? Who's familiar with that story, right? Every story that is a part of your life journey is here because you designed it. Not, you didn't ask for it. It's a different energy, right? It's a different energy. You created it in order to guide you on your transformational, evolutionary growth journey as a spiritual being. The human experience is a vehicle. It's a ride. It's an amusement park. Hey, let's go play on Earth, the amusement park, and have this third dimensional reality. And it's like a video game. Yeah, that's what happens. That's how we get here, right?
I love that. I always tell people it is a video game. And think about it, for our young listeners that are listening, you get this brand new video game and you go and you download it and you get ready to play and you hit level 1. Now, it might take you a day or two to figure out how to get through level 1 because you don't know where all the coins are. You don't know where you're going to get shot at or where you're going to get killed or where you're going to fall in a hole. You don't know all those stories. So that's the new soul that comes to Earth that's never been here, that's bumping their head along the wall. Now think about it. As you move along that video game, you could go back to level 1 and what? Complete it in 10 seconds because you know the path, you know the process, you've conquered that piece. So think about your lifetimes that after you've completed different levels, let's say you're on the 10th level and you go back to source and you sit and process, okay, I really bumped my knee there. I really didn't react the way I wanted to there. I really didn't finish that relationship that I wanted to complete and heal. I really didn't complete this. That's where we sit and make these plans that we're going to come back and do the level again because we want to complete it in a better way. We want to complete it differently. We want to get through it in a different way. It is a simulation game that you're going through, and you're trying to reach level 100. And you're trying to figure out how you get there and how you master that and how you get to that level. When you put it into that mindset that we have, it makes total sense on why we do the things that we do and why we've selected the contracts that we have and the experiences that we have is because we're here to master those, to be able to look at them not in the victim energy, but
Yeah.
knowing I am a powerful spiritual being and I have the tools that I need to conquer and overcome this.
Yeah.
So if you're an individual, and don't take this the wrong way, that sits in that victim energy of woe is me, my life is blah blah blah, and everybody did this to me and God's punishing me, just know you're coming back to do it again, because they're going to send you right back in the same situation and you get to live it again. So today, you
Mhm.
can pick a different outcome. You can say, okay, I'm going to get through this game, this simulation in a different way. I'm going to conquer it. I'm going to be victory. I'm not going to be the victim. I'm going to see this as I need to work on me, not
Mhm.
everybody else, because
Yep.
the only one you have control over is yourself. I'm going to
Exactly.
work on me so that I do this better, so I don't have to come back and repeat that again. I can go and have a different experience, whatever that might be, right? A different experience.
Well, it's interesting you say different experience. I love all that. Here's another thing that might, your mind might go, what? From what I am aware of and understand and have the awareness of, the clarity around from the curiosity, right? Like I've been curious. What is life? Star Wars, Star Trek, and like I was like, there's no way that Earth, like that this is the only like it never made sense to me that we were the only intelligent beings in a on this like and this was it, that this was it. Never, never. So here we are, and we're really all recognizing that we chose this condition, this family, this life, and we have like 11 other aspects to our soul self hanging out, having some other avatar experience. That's what this is. This is an avatar. We're talking about video games, right? You're the avatar in your game. And there's what? Hundreds of other like beings, right? Some of them are your friends that you're playing with and they're in their own house, right? And you're doing a thing like I'm not a big video game person, but that's the idea, right? They're like a big group of people. They're like, hey, help me out over here, do, right? But then there's all the other ones, the NVC, the non something players or whatever that is. NPC, I don't know. Anyway, the point is they're there to kind of mess up your situation. Like they're there to trigger things and like have things go wrong for you to work through. So the idea here is that we are constantly in a state of growth. How do you desire to experience yourself through that? Because everything is a reflection. We're walking disco balls. Everybody's a disco ball. Tons and tons of mirrors flashing all around to every aspect that is, and everything is saying back to me, I'm this. Right? And you can even say when it comes to nature, I'm this tree. I'm the air. I'm fire, right? I'm water. We can say it from that. We can shape shift, be with, feel as, right? Like that's what I feel empathy is to be in a state where we are one, right? This idea. So I have a new word. I made it up. It's called intuipath. And it's really taking the energy of empathy that we so desire, which is to like be there for others. But we come from an intuitive perspective that says, you got your stuff, I got my stuff, and we're going to hang out with each other and help each other figure it out. I'm not going to figure out your problem because you know why? If I do that, you don't get the chance to. So I don't love empathy as a concept the way I grew up with it in like the Bay Area in California, where everybody that idea of like let's fix the world and save the polar bears and all the peoples that are marginalized and blah 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 blah. I'm not going to get it political because I'm that's not my thing. I'm saying that when we recognize, and we've danced here, like here's a big, big thing that I would love for you to walk away from. You are the vehicle. You are the creator. You are the energetic force behind your life. You and God. Whatever God is, I don't care. Goddess, mystery, universe, source, higher power. It's a word. You get to decide the relationship you're in with it. And if you're here in sacred magic, I mean, hello, like sacred magic is all about that essence-ness. So, you're not, you're here, you're like, yeah, I get this. So you're like, oh, but that maybe is kind of expanding me. So that's what curiosity is about. And you know what? I worked as a birth doula for 12 years. And I'm going to tell you something. Contractions are birth hugs. I know we don't look at them that way. But if we were to look at them from the baby's perspective, like as they're making their way out, and if we were not making it like that we were responsible for how this birth happened or this child becomes a person, but we were a vehicle. We're a vehicle for everybody's story, and everybody's a vehicle for ours.
I love that. I love that. You and I can tell already, could talk for hours and hours. So you have a
We
lot
have to
of,
have another one.
right? We'll have to be on here again. One of the things I want to talk about, because I love this, because it's really true. When you tell someone you're creating your own experience and you get that, no, I'm not. I would never create this. Why would I do this? Well, that right there tells me why you're creating this experience. But what do I know? On here on Sacred Magic, the two words that I absolutely have fallen in love with this time is the magic of the universe and sacredness, because I think as divine souls, we're always seeking that. But you talk about 3D and 5D concepts and New Earth. So share with us a little bit, because that's a conversation we haven't had on the show, of what is 3D, 5D? What do we mean when we say that? And what do we mean when we talk about New Earth?
Okay, there's so many layers to this, and I know we don't have all day. I'm going to bring us into some bullet point awarenesses. I say 3D and 5D because those are ones that people can kind of get their brain wrapped around, right? 3D, 4D is a bridge, and there's many dimensions. Other planets are in other dimensions, frequency, vibration, okay? So we get this. This is three-dimensional. It's not one-dimensional, which is, flat, and then it's not two-dimensional, which is like a box. It's like it's the whole dealio, right? It's this, that everything we see, this carbon-based planet is a third dimension, in a third dimensional experience. And here's the thing, I'm not sciencey, okay? I'm like quantum magical. That's what I call myself. Quantum magical. And I listen and I'm curious. But here's what I recognize in my own personal experience is what energy feels like. And energy is a level of frequency and vibration. And when you listen, when you close your eyes and you listen to your body and you drop in, that's it right there. That's energy and that's frequency. In our third dimensional world, we don't play in that, right? Like we're like, okay, here's the thing. Like this is life. And the stuff over there, like in the fairy tales and the and the fantasy and the science fiction, that's all made up. No, flip it, baby. The script, turn it upside down. Everything that we were told wasn't real is real. And everything that we were told is real is part of the matrix, is part of what we call now the matrix, is the third dimensional experience. Again, we chose it. Let's go remember that. You chose to be here for this experience. It's not like you were, it's not like in Superman when they put the people in the glass and they're like, you're bad people when you're going to go spin out in space, right? No, we said, let's go be on this planet of exponential growth. But first, I have to totally forget everything that I know about who I am. Okay. So 5D is when we are accessing this information, when we have this awareness, when we're in the space where we're like, oh, I see synchronicities. Like that made sense. Oh, I see the path. Oh, right? Every time you do it, oh, you like access like a little glimpse of 5D. And then you start to see like how 3D can be very, okay, let's just say this. It's gravity. We got gravity. I've never thought about it this way before. We got gravity on Earth. To stay here, we need gravity to tether us here. Otherwise, we'd fly around in space, right? Okay, we can't have that. We need to be tethered. So we're an untethered soul in a tethered being, in a tethered relationship, in a tethered body. And that's the thing, we get to remember that. So that's where the 5D awareness is, that we're untethered, we're part of a more greater, expansive than the Truman Show situation of Earth, right? We've already talked about the video game. So where does New Earth come in? New Earth comes in as we are literally on the brink in this age of Aquarius. I'm not an astrologer, but we've been witnessing it, all the things in the Mayan calendar, blah, 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 right? So many things pointed to a time that we're in right now that is about stepping into the future human, awakening into this level of consciousness. And as we do this, more of us, we are expanding our connections in the field. Schumann resonance, things like this are like, wow, everything's flying off the planet. People, big people dying, all kinds of stuff. New kids, these little the generation alpha, they don't have a veil. Like they have no amnesia. They're like, I get it. I'm God, right? That's what we get to now. That's where we are. In the new earth, I am God. I am, right? We are in that awareness of the more than earth 3D reality allows us. So new earth is where we're just all hanging out in that awareness. Now I've heard all kinds of things. I don't know. There's like another planet. We just like portal there and then we're dead here, or we live here concurrently at the same time. I don't know. I love any of the ideas, but I recognize that I live in my world. I really do. And listen, news is completely unnecessary.
I'll tell you a story about news. I love that because it's true. What is out there in our video game or in this experience isn't it real, but it influences us crazily, right? So COVID hits. I don't know anything about COVID because I don't watch the news. I don't pay any attention to the news. I'm teaching this lovely angelic Reiki class, and the students are freaking out on their phones at break. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, the toilet paper is leaving the shelves, the paper towel is leaving. And I'm thinking, they'll just restock it next week. I don't know why you guys, no, it's COVID. And they're relieving. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand. Monday, I have a hair appointment after the class, and I go to my hairdresser who mostly serves men. So guess what her TV channel is stuck on that day? CNN News. Do you know how long it takes for her to do my hair?
Hours?
For 2 hours, I'm listening to CNN, right? I never listen to the news. I never pay attention to any of that. Even when my husband watches it, I work on my computer. I tune it out.
You're like, yeah, it's not even in the field.
It's not even in my field, right? So I come home like a crazy woman that day. We have to stock the freezers. We got to fill the cars up with gas. We got to go to the store. We got to do inventory on all of our freezers. We got to get a chalkboard so we can count off the days. We're going to be stuck. Da, da, da. My husband looked at me and goes, where's my wife? I want my wife back. And I'm like, that's how things influence us when we allow it, because then we add to that energy. When you can disconnect from some of the stuff that's out there. And yes, for some, the world seems very crazy right now. For some, they're enjoying it. For some, they're just trying to figure it out. And I get all that. when you get pulled into that, you are part of that energy. And when you can say, I'm just going to send love and peace and harmony out into the collective, and I'm just going to say everything's okay, and I'm not going to panic. I know they've got us. I'm just going to send love and healing and all that. It changes your world.
It
Right?
changes the world. We are part of the collective consciousness. Everything that we witness is part of it. Everything we offer contributes to it. Period. End of story, right? That is the way that we are one vibration. We are one energy. We are oneness. And it's interesting, this idea of, oh, there was a thought I had. Let's see if I bring it back. And this, oh, yes. You were spoken to, some people are having good time, bad time, good times, bad times, whatever. You chose it. You did. We've already talked about this. Like, this is really an important anchor point awareness, is that you chose this life and everybody else did. You do not need to feel bad about somebody else's circumstances. Wars, all of it, fires, natural disasters. I mean, the whole planet, she's like, oy vey, we're doing a little shifting situation. We got volcanoes and earthquakes and fires and tornadoes where they don't belong. Everybody's blowing up. Good, because guess who's blowing up inside? Everything that we are is a reflection of what's going on in the collective. Absolutely. So when you are looking outside and you're seeing this distress and disconnect and fear, it is what you're experiencing inside. And so, two ways. One is change what you're seeing outside to support the shift inside. And the easiest way to do it is get in nature. Get in nature. Let the elements of this earth, it's the same. It's like, it's the duality of earth. It's either like hell or heaven right here on earth, right? And hell is fear and the system, the matrix system. Heaven on earth is nature, is the energetic frequency of Mama Earth herself. We get to choose who we're paying attention to. And then once we bring that in, we fill ourselves up, take a breath, and stop looking at all that other stuff and be here and be with you. You're the most important person in this life, period. End of story. I don't care if you have kids or animals or parents or all the above. You are the most important person. Put your oxygen mask on first. We've been hearing that ever since we could get into a plane, right? Like, that is the important key factor in this life, is look in the mirror, take care of yourself, and recognize you have a choice in every moment.
And there are only two choices. This is what I tell people all the time: fear, love. Fear, love. Yep. Love is nature, loving yourself. Fear, love. So
everything's going to fall under, everything's going to funnel into that. Victor, victim, all of it, everything's going to funnel. You get to discern, right? You get to like look at everything through the eyes of curiosity, right? Back to that. Are you in fear or are you in love? And faith is, so here's another way to look at fear too. We've heard this before, many of you maybe. False evidence appearing real. That's one. But the other one is face everything and rise. Let fear be what supports you to shift. Faith, I love words again, remember, acronyms. Faith, face all in the heart. Face all in the heart. That's your faith. Your faith is to be with you because you and God are one within. God is not outside. None of the theynesses, they're all here. We all reside in this oneness. So I love this conversation.
I love this conversation. Excuse me. We're having so much fun. So, Ann, we're at the top of our time here. So I will have your website on the video and also in the description. But share with us, if people wanted to work with you, what are some of the things that you offer out there for those that are listening?
Yes. Here's the thing. I have community and I have partners. That's how I see the people that I work with. And the way to find about all of that is at my website, which is the lotuspath.love. Yes, LOVE. So the lotuspath.love. That's going to be in there. Sacred Connection is something I started in October of 22, and we finished round 10 at the beginning of June and round 11. So 90 weeks of this amazing, incredible 9-week virtual webinar. Round 11 starts on August 21st. So that will be available for you to check out. I'm Ann the Love Messenger everywhere in all the situations. LinkedIn, YouTube, of course, Facebook and Instagram. And I have a way of connecting, whether it's free through these channels, through my website, through Sacred Connection as a virtual community, one-to-one. And I have an Enlightenment Pathway Partnership Program. And that's essentially where we together walk along this journey, witnessing and listening and being curious. And that's what I've got going on. And I love it. And a podcast and a book. Actually, I'm going to launch a podcast, so that's coming. And a book is getting itself put together. My first solo book. I have 2 anthologies. One I contributed to, my first published right in the middle of COVID. And then Sacred Connection, I curated and produced a 7-chapter anthology, wrote the first chapter with 6 other co-hosts from the Sacred Connection community. And that was launched on 11/11 of 23. And so, yes, it's my honor to be a vehicle, be a channel, be an offering to this time on our planet, and that this is my life. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for being on the show and taking the time. It has been pure joy being able to connect with you and chat with you. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you for that opportunity. And I hope that we'll get you back on here sometime. I love our conversation.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And those that are listening, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you follow us, like us, and comment on your favorite channels. We have a variety of guests on the show, and I love to bring new experiences, new topics, or just share new perspectives with individuals. So have a sacred and magical week, and we hope to see you really soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Violet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Violet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.